Fear. Fear of failure. Fear of looking stupid. Fear of rejection. Fear of public speaking. No matter what your fear is, fear either stifles you or it motivates you. What are you afraid of? Me, what I'm most afraid of is not fulfilling my purpose in life, not achieving my full potential. That's my purpose as an individual, my purpose as a mom, as a daughter, as a friend, and even as an employee of Delta. This fear keeps me in a place where I'm constantly trying to achieve excellence, constantly pursuing greatness. 6.3 million Americans have a diagnosed fear of something. So my theme for today is fear less, innovate more. I want to share with you just a few techniques that have worked for me as I've conquered my fears over the years. First, know your why. Simon Sinek is one of my favorite authors and motivational speakers. In his books and his speeches, he talks about knowing your why. Everyone has a why. Your why is the purpose, belief, or cause that inspires you to do what you do. Now, taking it to the corporate side, at Delta, we have this principle called the virtuous circle. It starts at the very top of the circle, where you take care of your employees. You equip your employees with the tools and the things that they need to be successful in serving your customers. Your customers are then more loyal and spend more money with the company, which leads to financial value and success. In turn, shareholder value. So as an innovator in the hangar, which is Delta's Global Innovation Center, my why is helping Delta become the world's most innovative airline. I have a team of students, employees, and partners who are every day thinking about how can we change the travel industry and make it more innovative. Now, we do that sometimes without knowing all the answers or even having the right skill sets to be successful. But we figure it out because our customers and our employees, they count on us to do so. We've created this environment where failure is okay. And occasionally we're going to have to fail, but we fail fast because sometimes the best learnings come from failure. Now, I've taken this principle in my work life, but in my personal life, my why is very similar. So I talked about fear and I talked about excellence and the things that really drive me. Well, that is my personal why. It's about excellence. I want to strive to be the best at everything I try to accomplish in life. The fear of letting my children down or my family down or even my team at work down is what motivates me. And so no matter whether it's personal or work, figure out what your why is and use that to motivate you to achieve your goals and overcome fear. So now switching gears, how many of you like to be told no? Well, I didn't think anyone would raise their hand, so that's good. And it's because no is a form of rejection, and rejection is a form of failure. I often say that optimism is my superpower, and I've seen a lot of adversity in life and experienced a lot of things, from health issues to divorced parents to death in the workplace. But despite all of that, I've been successful. And the reason that I've been successful is because I don't let negativity take away in my dreams. And so what I've realized that no is often an obstacle, it's not a brick wall. As an innovation team, we are told no on a daily basis almost. We are told that's been done before, it's too complex, it's too difficult, but we don't let that stop us. Negativity is often the result of fear of failure. So put yourself in their shoes, the person who's telling you no. Empathize with them. Really get a deeper understanding of why you're getting that no. And try to change that no into a yes through empathy. So one example of that is about a year ago in my role, I realized that Delta was doing a lot of investment in hackathons. So there's these events where we would go out and we'd ask students to generate lots of really cool and interesting ideas that would help us improve our business. And we got some great ideas, but I realized we were never asking our employees to do the same. And so I said, why don't we do our own employee hackathon where we have all 80,000 people get together on a weekend and think about ways to solve our challenges. And so as you can imagine, I immediately got a lot of resistance. And I was told, it's too expensive, it's too complex, it'll never work. So I had to figure out a way to make it work. So what I did was we started with a very small group, one division within the company. And we asked about a couple hundred employees if they'd like to participate. And slowly we started to see people who said, you know what, I'd like to do that, I'm interested. And it's because I have these ideas, but I don't have a forum or a way to share them. And so to cover the expense, we asked some of our partners, our technology partners, to chip in and provide subject matter experts and technology and resources. We ended up with about 150 people over the course of one weekend who devoted their personal time. They chose to take time away from their family. They chose to take time away from the things that matter to them to generate ideas for the company. And we also thought about prizes, and we said, well, what do we have to give them to really motivate them? Because people are busy at work, and now they're doing the weekend. The one prize that stood out the most was people wanted to know that they could work on their idea and see it live in an environment. So it wasn't monetary. It was the pride of taking that idea that I came up with in a weekend and seeing it in front of customers. So when you hear no, find a way to make it happen. Let your passion and your interest and your why really drive your success. And so now we're taking that program and we're looking to scale it across the 80,000. It may take some time, but we'll get there. So now on to my third point. Many of you may have heard of the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. I've read the book twice now, and I was fortunate enough recently to hear him speak at an event. In the book, he talks about this concept of a flywheel. So imagine this huge, heavy flywheel. It's massive, and it's overwhelming. As a company, in order to get your company from good to great, you've got to turn that flywheel as fast as possible, because the momentum that you get as a company will help you succeed and achieve that success. It's scary. That flywheel is massive. And making that first turn, especially when the flywheel is at a standstill, is hard. But the more people you can get on board, the faster the flywheel starts to move, and the faster you start to make some change. So how do you get that momentum to make that very first push? Well, what I want to talk about today is being courageous and making that very first turn. It only takes one individual. It only takes one group. Make that first turn. And that's how I think of my innovation team at Delta. We are the team that's raising our hand, proud, smiling, saying we will make that first turn. For the people who say, no, it's too complex, we're the ones who say we're going to go figure out a way to make it happen. And we are the coaches and the counselors that once we get everyone on board, we keep that flywheel turning. And so we've created this environment where we can rapidly and quickly test things, new ideas, and bring them to life. We make bold moves, take big risks to figure out how to make them successful. 5 years ago, I had probably one of the most difficult times in my personal life. And now looking back on that, I view it as my own personal flywheel. So I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I was forced with facing my own fears. All of that optimism and positivity that I just talked about, that went out the window. Leading up to my diagnosis, I was told, oh, this is really mostly a formality. There's no history of breast cancer in your family. It's most likely not the case. So as you can imagine, I was devastated when I got that call. The first people I spoke to, my husband, my parents. And the way they responded to me in that moment is what got me through. They didn't allow me to sulk. They didn't allow me to be negative. They basically said, we're going to fight, and we're going to do this together. So I spent that weekend with a little bit of a pity party, I have to admit. But I compartmentalized it, and I really focused in on battling this disease. I couldn't submit to it. So after that weekend, I knew that this was going to be a battle I had to fight, but I had to make that very first turn on the flywheel. So don't get overwhelmed by the massive thing that's in front of you. Take that very first turn. And remember, whether it's work, life, personal, whatever you have ahead of you, make the first turn. And 5 years later, I will say that I am still making turns every day. It's definitely a journey. And without my family's support and the people around me, I don't know that I would have gotten this far. But I'll tell you, I still have a long way to go. So on the heels of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, proud to say that I am a survivor. And when you think about that concept and how massive it can be, I will tell you that you can conquer anything, and you don't have to be afraid of what's ahead of you. Now, my last concept is about dreaming big. About 10 years ago, long before I joined Delta, I was in a role where I was supporting a senior executive with speech writing. And so he had to deliver a speech, and I helped him write his speech for this huge business development presentation. And so I joined him on the plane on the ride back. And while we were on the plane, he started to ask how I love my job. And I said, actually, I love my job. I'm having a great time. I enjoy supporting you, and I'd love to keep working for you for a long time. And he said, well, do you have your sights set on my job one day? You know, do you ever want to reach my potential as president? And I said, I thought about it for a moment, and I said, well, I'm not sure if I actually want your job. You seem to be very successful, and you have a lot of great things going for you, but you also travel a lot, and you don't seem to have as much time with your family. And he said to me, Nicole, I have dinner with my family almost every night. He said, good leaders learn how to balance work and family. He said, you know, figure out a way to put family first, and don't let that stop you from pursuing your dreams. I realized that I was selling myself short. I was allowing my fear of sacrifice to stifle my career. And so what I realized is I can put family first, I can pursue a career, and I can achieve and have his job one day. And since that moment, I've come a long way, and I dream big, and I don't let those fears hold me back. So in summary, I first want to say, know your why. Second, no is an obstacle. It's not a brick wall. Use empathy to get to a place of yes. Be courageous and make that first turn of the flywheel. I'm here as a testimony that it does pay off. And finally, dream big. Don't lose sight of your full potential. What fear will each of you conquer next? Thank you.